How do you learn who you really are? It's not found in books. It's found on the battlefield. So I'm like, we have another mystery. This is about to be in the next book. Is why does Zoom always mess with George? I don't know.
That's just my luck, I guess.
Awesome to meet you, man. Very cool. I already have a couple recordings going right now, but whether we meet and greet today or if you want to get into some stuff today, both a win. I've got about an hour open until my next call. If you want to just throw something down for fun and we can do it, or just hang out for a little bit, it's up to you. Both a win.
Let's hang out for a few.
Let's do it. Yeah, so any of this stuff, we'll just cut it all off. If we end up saying some gold, though, I'm using it because I have a feeling you're going to say some cool stuff, George.
Well, I'll try. I can't make any promises.
I don't put you on the spot that hard. So, any case,
I'm not a fan, so you know.
So I was gonna make a joke. I'm like, George's signal's not coming in. He's mid Loch Ness right now. He's got like an antenna in the water, trying to get some signal so we can have this call. I'm like, where's this guy at? All right, so so catch me up. I saw you have a series of books. And it seems like if I had to give you the correct warrior title, you are a monster hunter.
Yes. Well, what happened is I wrote the 4 books to begin with, the series. And I got picked up by Beyond the Fray Publishing. And they decided they'd like to have all 4 books put into one book. So I went, took all 4 books, added over 100 more stories to it, added 2 more of the Indian tribes to it, and made it a bigger book.
Obviously, I want to hear some of the stuff. I want to all right, we got some of the stories in there, and the way that you have found things have to be different than just common lore, for sure, right?
On some of it, yeah. A lot of it was, I took all the different versions of a story, and I combined them into one, and took out the silly stuff, and put in the stuff I think would be
What's the silly stuff?
accurate.
Just because I want to make sure, because maybe I'm like, that was the stuff that was so intense to me. And you're like, that's silly. I'm like, I had nightmares for 9 years from that one. And you're like, that's silly.
Like, I think there was one of them where the woman was chasing the car, and this was before she died. And I can't see a woman chasing the car for really any other reason other than she's pissed. So,
And even still, it's just throwing shoes at that point.
yeah, I mean, it just kind of didn't match what the story was. So it's like, no.
All right, what are some of the monsters that you've been chasing down here? I know we got Bigfoot in the equation. What do we got? We got chupacabras. What do we got in here? Wolfman.
I have the Beast of Bray Road, which is a like a dog man. I have all kinds of different kinds of Bigfoot. I have UFOs. I have serial killers. I have everything under the sun in that book. Because what I did, I took stories from every state. I took at least a minimum of 8 stories from every state and told stories. There's a Winchester house in there. There's one of my favorite ones is about the white ghost dog in South Carolina. Now, that was just a fun one. I liked it.
All right, so
when the dog,
I was gonna say I've got this whole chair, but now I'm just on the edge of my seat. Are you gonna be telling the story? Do we got to get the book or listen to the podcast? What do we got to do?
I'll tell you the story. I'll give you the short version of it. How's that sound? Well, yes. There's a guy. He's a salesman back in it's the late 1800s, early 1900s. He's a door-to-door salesman. He goes around and carries his wares in a suitcase, and he has a white German Shepherd that stays with him everywhere he goes. Well, he goes into this little small town down in South Carolina, and there was a murder happened. And since he's the only person new in town, they automatically accuse him of being the murderer. And, he's denying it, so they take him, put him on a horse, they tie his hands behind his back, they take him out to these crossroads. And at the crossroads, there's a church and a graveyard on one side of it. And there's a big, huge tree hanging over the middle of the crossroads. I take to throw the rope over the guy's head, over his head, tie the noose, throw it over the limb, and the dog is raising Cain. He's pitching a fit. He's trying to bite the people. So one of the guys shoots the dog. The leader of them shoots the dog. He hits the ground. They all think he's dead. Well, they hang the guy. And about a week, 2 weeks later, they find out it was actually one of the most prominent people in the town. It was his son who had a mental condition that actually killed this woman. So they're feeling extremely guilty. They go back, they go to untie this guy and give him a decent burial and his dog a decent burial. They get back and there's not much left. This mutated, rotting corpse hanging up there, and they take it. But the dog's body's gone. So they bury him, they give him a real burial and everything. Well, each one of the people that was at the lynching has themselves or a family member goes missing or dies. And everywhere that they are, that white dog is present. Then it gets to the very last guy, the leader of this one that actually shot the dog to begin with. He's sitting in his office at his desk, and he looks out, and his little girl is walking up the field, up the hill of the field. And before he can get up, he sees a white dog standing at the top of the hill, and she goes up to the dog. He jumps up the outside to stop her. The last thing he sees is the dog and the girl disappear into the distance. He runs up there to get her, and she's disappeared. She's not there anymore.
Yeah, that's some wild. So listen, moral of the story here: does everybody else is killed, but the guy who actually did the killing?
Yep.
And this guy lives, and he was like the leader of being like, the not nice people.
Right, but he lost his young daughter.
Oh, so that little girl was his daughter. Okay.
Yeah,
and so, daughter. All right, so that's pretty intense then. So he lost his daughter to the white dog.
Yep.
All right. Well, I was going to say there's got to be some end to the story. It's like, don't be a dick.
And then, losing your youngest will just put you through torture for the rest of your life.
Yeah, no, makes a little bit more sense. It's kind of like more. I don't know what happened to the little girl. I'm assuming she's hanging out in doggy heaven or something, rubbing bellies everywhere and having a good time. I'm hoping, and not a spirit meal. But in any case, I don't know. But it's one of those things where like you want to take a life, then you'll lose a life. But it's better.
Yep.
It's worse karma, because I know that as most men, if they say, who would you rather have die? Would you rather die or have your daughter be killed? And most people would be like, I'll take the spot. So to have a daughter disappear is a worse punishment.
Yep, that's for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, interesting karma. So since then, they're like, we should maybe get real detectives.
Yeah.
Maybe we should look for clues next time and not just kill people on assumption. Maybe. Yeah, they're like, did the glove even fit? We're like, we didn't even check.
Oh, Lord.
That's a wild one, man. That's wild. And so you're getting these stories all over, man. I'm excited to hear. And I haven't gotten a chance to get into the podcast, the odd and unusual tales. How many episodes are you in right now?
Well, there's not many because I've kind of left it behind. Mm-hmm. Because I'm getting ready to go into a new podcast, a video podcast with a guy named Robert Effler. He's a Bigfoot hunter, and he's a researcher and all that with Bigfoot 911 here in Marion, North Carolina. Well, we're teaming up as partners to do this real podcast, and we have a producer down in South Carolina who's going to actually do the production, editing, and all that stuff for us. We're trying to get that going right now, and I'm working on becoming a certified cryptozoologist. Mm-hmm. And we're just really trying to move things forward a lot. I've got a ghost hunt coming up soon, and I've got a Bigfoot hunt coming up in fall.
All right, so I'm going to go with you on this one. I'm going to come in as like, all right, I believe, but have questions. All right, so okay. I'm watching enough UFO stuff. It's really difficult to argue UFOs. It's really tough to argue. There's way too much stuff. Like there's millions of sightings. It's too many to go like, okay. Now ghosts. Yeah, well, I may have and not known it because we had like those two things where like, oh, that's Saturn. And it sat in the same place for like a few hours and then it didn't rotate with the Earth. It was just gone. And I'm like, I don't think that the way stars move, that they usually, as the Earth is rotating, those are moving as it's rotating. And those stayed in the same place for a long time and then were just gone. And so I don't know if that's what stars do. That's the first time I've seen that. You know, they're like, it was Saturn. I've never seen Saturn. That's fucking far. So I'm just saying. So there's some of those ones that maybe I've seen once and didn't know it. It could easily be the case, but there's a lot of video stuff, especially stuff over the White House. And I watched the stuff that they just, the blue book files or blue case? What is it? Is Project Blue Book or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so like I was watching that stuff and I'm like really tough to kind of argue this stuff because there's too much there to say that's not a thing. So I'm going to go with you. There's UFOs. There's others. Listen, I played Mass Effect. There's a Star Trek thing going on out there. And they're trying to see like, are we going to blow ourselves up or are we going to be worthy of joining the galactic, government? We'll see. All right. So let's just assume that's there. I watch ghost stuff, and I've seen enough ghost stuff to be like, that's some real shit. And, like, is there no acknowledgement that we have spirits and souls and there's something more to us than what we can see? I'm like, apparently there's people who can do this. Do I understand it? No. But do I see it? Okay, those are there. I can't argue. There's a thing. There's something. Can't argue that. But Bigfoot. This dude has too many rumors going. It was some con artist who dressed up in a monkey suit and they took long-distance fuzzy pictures and nobody's gotten any sense. Bigfoot's the harder one because, like...
harder one because science don't want you to know it, basically is what it amounts up to. Because it doesn't fit with the narrative.
Now, who's science and who's narrative? Because enough people be like, listen, in today's day and age, if they're like, no, really, here's Bigfoot. It's Kevin Peter Hall dressed up like Harry from Harry and the Hendersons. Like, that's a real dude. And like, hey, Harry exists. And he'd be like, and they're like, oh, yeah, that is Bigfoot. And they're like, that's crazy. Did you see Bigfoot? Yeah, I did. And they'd give Bigfoot his own show or he'd be on a YouTube thing. He'd go viral. And then, they'd teach Bigfoot some language, and then they'd have interviews with Bigfoot. We'd understand it pretty quickly. We wouldn't be arguing it. So whose science and whose narrative are we fighting Bigfoot? Because it just would make total sense.
Well, most scientists refuse to get behind it because basically they're not getting paid to it. Most scientists nowadays are only worried about what they're getting funding for. And it's hard to get funding to research Bigfoot because it's not a known creature. And there's anywhere between, when you figure insects, plants, animals, there's anywhere between 500,000 new discoveries every year. And we're talking everything from microbes to fungus to elephants. They found an entire, there's a guy was researching these elephant herd that had supposedly been wiped out, never supposed to exist again. Well, he was down there in Africa hunting them on the plains and was talking to one of the chiefs of one of the tribes, and the elephants come walking behind him, the entire herd.
I think they just manifested these ones. Do they pay these elephants to dress different? Like, hold on, that's a little convenient. These one elephant pack, they're extinct. Just happen to be walking by, like, hey, George.
And then you got, they found a new ape down in South America that wasn't supposed to exist.
Tell me with this one. Did you see like the super monkeys or the super apes or something? They're like twice as big as regular ones, but it was like some super isolated like group. Like They were, and but they
I
only.
I didn't see it. I read it.
Yeah, I didn't see it either. I was reading on it too and hearing about these things where they found like the super monkeys, but like they were like bigger than us. Like they were like super chimps, and like it was one of those things where like it was like the natural selection, super breeding, where they like the strongest kept breeding with the strongest, and like ended up with this like giant, like it'd be like these Norse Viking monkeys where they're like just huge and powerful, but like they were like way bigger and way stronger than normal, and they were like, maybe we should leave these ones isolated because this will be Planet of the Apes real quick if we let these ones know we're around.
Well, the thing about Bigfoot is, though, you got so many wooded areas. I mean, I live in Western North Carolina. People think this place is packed full of people, and it is. But in just 2 of our forests is over 1 million acres. And then nobody goes, people go on trails and stuff, but they never go deep into the forest. So there's no reason a creature like that couldn't live here and nobody ever seen. Then you've got the Cherokee that only the Cherokee tribes can go on to. So, I mean, there's a lot of them out there. They migrate, they follow patterns, and they're starting to actually record the patterns. I've been talking to a group, and I joined that group, 911, that actually know the patterns better than most people do. I mean, they've tracked the patterns. They've got footage of Bigfoot. They've got everything about Bigfoot has been found and recorded and labeled except for a body.
So even with that, this is where I'm trying to understand, like this, like science just can't get paid for it. It's like, first off, I don't really understand the thing for like whatever the science, because science is not like, without money, I ain't doing science. Science is just, I got the questions that need to be answered. And there's always new questions that need to be answered. There's always new discoveries that need to be made. And so that's why I wonder, I'm like, do you really think that people would really struggle that much with this stuff, especially the science fiction stuff we've seen? And like, it's funny, they'd be like, without funding, we won't be doing any advances. But like, advances are made by answering questions, but discoveries are made by questioning answers. Bernard Haish. And so we should just be digging in to see if it's there, but maybe it's because like we got nothing on this one. Like I ain't never seen no Bigfoots before. Like hard to give the monies for that, right?
Pretty much, yeah. And I tell you what, when I go on the Bigfoot hunt this fall, I'm supposed to go on several. If I see him, I will come back and let you know exactly what he looks like.
Get a selfie with him, George.
I'm 20 foot of him. So,
all right, so maybe they're just like super master hiders or something, or maybe they're chameleon, things or something different. What's going on here? I don't know.
They use the caves. They use cave systems. They use the trees. And have you ever been out in the woods and heard something but never seen it, like a bear or a deer?
No, it's terrifying.
Really?
Yeah. Listen, I live near Chicago. We don't have a lot of going out in the middle of the woods here.
Well, I was up in Maine, and I was watching a full-grown bull moose. He was maybe 30 yards away. He come up over the road. And he come down, and when he come down, he come into some woods. And you'd think something that massive, you could see it no matter what. Well, I come up there. I even got out of the car and was looking for him. I could hear him, but I never could see him again once he went into the woods. And he couldn't have been more than 25, 30 yards from me then.
Okay.
But creatures have blend in real well. I grew up in the mountains. So... I'm an old mountain man.
Listen, I'm just saying I'm one of the ones who like, I'm not a Bigfoot hunter, but if they found Bigfoot, I'd be like, of course they found him. We were looking for him. Like I'd subscribe to his channel. I wouldn't be like, I can't fathom that that's real. I'd be like, well, okay, fair enough. I guess they were right. Like it'd be a pretty quick acceptance on that one. I don't think I'd be staying up all night arguing. If there was a kid who was really riding on the Loch Ness Monster, like, woo, water horse, I'd be like, oh, cool. Like, I don't think I'd be struggling that bad. I'm just trying to wonder which people are fighting.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Warrior, thank you so much for being a part of the information that we have. And you're part of our story as we are a part of yours. It's very much an honor to be able to connect with each other. If you want to know more or you want to get started with working with me or working with our warriors so that you can begin your path to authenticity, strength, leadership, and accountability, this is the way. Together, we are way stronger. Now you get to choose. Do you go forward or keep doing what you've always done? If you stay where you're at, hey, click on some of the stuff and follow what it is. We got motivational stuff. We've got podcasts. We've got more things. Just subscribe and do the stuff and we'll keep you updated. But if you want to start going in, start jumping into what our programs offer and start your journey and being the hero in your own story.
Yeah. Well, I seen some, like when I was in the Navy, I seen stuff out in the middle of the ocean that you kind of question what it was. I've seen stingrays come out of the water and fly across the water and go back in. I've actually seen orcas playing with tuna, not eating them, just playing with them. And I've seen some really cool stuff.
Yeah, this is one thing whenever I'm actually working with people, and no matter how far I've gone in my own expertise, I still try and handle certain situations or conversations like Socrates would, where I'll go in, like, as much as I know, I still have to consider I know nothing. Like, out of all there is to know, I know nothing. Like, so I have questions. Let's go in. And so it's not that difficult for me to go like, well, the arrogance or audacity of me to go, I know all, and if some new information comes along, I won't accept it. I'm like, no, I don't know that much. New information would be like, oh, there's new information. Now I can assess differently. They're like, no, really, there is a Bigfoot, or there really is this thing. You go like, oh, good to know. I'll watch out for that.
More people had your attitude about it.
I don't know what the argument would be. I think this gets in. I actually, I get deep into stuff. My next book gets into, grieving, coping, gets into the enemies within, gets into control, gets into truth. And truth is such a funny word because you play in the truth world. And what is truth? Like, what is it? And this is a deep question, obviously. I can go for a minute on this one. But what is truth besides an agreement?
Yeah.
Because you go like, right now, I ain't never seen no Bigfoots means there's no Bigfoot. Have you ever seen a Bigfoot? No, me either. So then that must be true. You're like, yeah, I agree with you. That's true. I have never seen one. You've never seen one. That's the truth. We'll call that a fact because we both agree. And then they find Bigfoot and he shows up and he's like, hey, dudes. And you're like, is that a Bigfoot? That is a Bigfoot. I didn't know there was a Bigfoot. Me either. You see him? I see him too. He's talking to us. He's like, hey, dudes, I'm Bigfoot. You're like, okay, now there's a Bigfoot. Well, I see there's a Bigfoot. You see there's a Bigfoot. We both agree there's a Bigfoot. So there's a Bigfoot, right? Yes, I agree. Well, now that's the truth. Well, what happened to that old truth? Well, we had new information now, so that makes the old truth now a lie. And that old fact has now been updated to new fact, and so now that's the new truth.
Yep, that's true.
So what's truth except
I'll agree with that.
The truth is just we agree based on what we know. And we don't know everything. So then facts can change. And even more fun, does a belief system really require facts to be a belief system? No.
Well, no. I believe belief is what you believe.
Whatever you make up,
what
believe.
You think is. Yeah.
And so does it really? Yeah, exactly what it is. And so I believe this based on what? Based on what I feel and what I know. How much do you know? Not very much. Yep. I'm like, well, then it doesn't really require truth or fact in order to be a belief. And so if we live and die by what we believe, and I pretty much make up what the truth is based on what we agree upon, I can create an entire belief system and an entire truth based on literally whatever I make up. Yay.
That's true. I agree.
So here we are now. here we are where you're playing with the truth. Like, well, let's go see if there's not new information to change the facts into new facts.
Yep.
And then that would be the new truth. You know, I say it all the time where, like, even like example, like Newton, when the apple hit him in the head and he's like, damn it, seems like something's pulling us down. And they're like, something is pulling us down. And they're like, that must be true. I can't argue with it. Look, something must have just pulled that down. Didn't go up. You must be right. That must be true. Till Einstein comes along and goes, it seems like something's pushing, not pulling. I think we're being pushed down, not pulled down. And they're like, how do you do it? He's like, here's the math I got, and it seems right. And they're like, let's see. That seems right. So was Newton right, or was Einstein right? Yes. And no. So Newton was right until they were like, well, maybe Einstein's right. It seems more right, so we're going to change it. So now the new facts are the new truth. So we got to change all the books now.
Oh, yeah.
That's what truth is. So then I'm like, okay, so what's true? What we can agree on or accept. And a lot of times people can't accept the truth, especially within themselves.
I'll agree with that.
So here we are. What a shenanigans world we are to think that we are honestly the center of the universe and that we can't accept any new information because I don't believe it, so it can't be true, even though the beliefs I have were all made up to begin with. Womp, womp,
Yep.
womp, womp. So silly. So silly. So in which case, I'd be like, if Bigfoot was flying around in a UFO that was shaped like Loch Ness Monster and his best friend is the Wolfman, I'd be like, of course.
I would like to see that.
I'd be like, well, naturally. What else would it be?
You have an interesting perspective of looking at life.
You are right. This is why we're creating beautiful parts of the universe where we can all just get along because we're allowed to have our own thoughts and not have to be offended by them.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, it works out pretty good because I get to meet very cool people of like every shape, size, race, gender. It's all neat. Very cool stuff. So like, and then also like I'm open to, because I fall in the psychology realm, so I'll attribute my stuff into that side. I love hearing people who are challenging everything. And that's the warrior's way, is challenge everything. Is that real? Is it not real? Is that true in myself or is that true outside of me? Let's challenge everything. And I see you as a warrior saying, you guys say that it's this without actually challenging. Let's challenge and see if it's true. And people can't accept the truth because they don't want to have to change their belief systems.
You're exactly right.
Well, it just shows how far behind they are in their own development to accept new information. And yet they call themselves the leaders or the experts.
I'll agree with that.
Seems silly.
So you like my new book as much as my old one. Because the new one is about cryptid creatures from all over the world.
Give me some of your favorite ones. I want to hear more. George and I'm fascinated. Give me more.
Well, there is a tree in South America reported by one of the tribes in South America that eats people.
Of course why would there not be a tree that eats? I think it's about time.
It's alive. And it suckers you in, grabs you, and then it drains you completely empty of all your bodily fluids.
All right. What is in South America? There's like, what is this, like a vampire tree? Like, what is this thing?
It's one of the nicknames for it is a vampire tree. Yes.
Okay.
But they hold this tree in reverence, and only certain members of the tribe gets to go to where the tree is and see it. Most of them not allowed to. You'll get a kick out if you get to read about it. But there is all these creatures all over the world that people are so confused of. You have organism 49, I think it is, in Antarctica. It was only seen by a group of Russian scientists after they found a lake under the glacier.
Mm.
And this thing killed like 3 of them. It spews out this toxic stuff, which paralyzes them, then it eats them.
I saw that in Jurassic Park. They found a Dilophosaurus in Antarctica. That's amazing.
Yep.
Creature 49.
I think that's which one is. I have a hard time keeping all this straight because there's 104 of them in the book. It's from every continent in the world. And I got 26 people sent me encounters with different creatures that is in the book too.
All right.
Now
you're digging in. You're going like, hold on. Are you just sharing the stories, or were you like, I got to check and see if this is shenanigans or...
I just shared their stories. I figured if they were gracious enough to share their encounters, I would be honored that and put exactly what they said into the book.
All right, I love it. Now, this is where, like, it could be that's a thing, but they're also, like, when I was experiencing this, I was also on peyote, and so that may have made it different. I was on my ayahuasca trip when I found, the werewolf man, and you're like, okay, all right, I'll share your story, but probably not going to find that evidence.
Well, now, I went to Bray Road myself up in Wisconsin, and when you get up there, you're thinking there's a lot of people around here, so there's no way possible. But then as you drive down the road, you can see big open fields with patches of woods as you go down the road. It's only a very short road too, so
All right, so I'm just gonna ask like regular questions just to see like where are you at with these things. All right.
Okay.
All right. They're vampires. Is there really like some Twilight world that we don't know about? Like there's really like Dracula is like a real deal. He's hanging out still. Like
I don't think it's Dracula.
Underground society is underworld really a thing?
It might be. It would have to be someplace like New Orleans or St. Louis. I mean, San Francisco though.
Why would San Francisco be where the vampire? That's a very sunny place for vampires, unless they sparkle.
They have a lot of underground tunnel system.
Okay. Now, do you really get into like if there were vampires, the sun will really get them, or is this like nonsense? It's most likely they just sparkle.
I don't think it's sparkle.
Listen, that's the Twilight ones do. Put them in the sun and they just glisten.
I don't get into the Twilight one too much. My daughter did.
George, it's a safe place. You don't have to hide it here. You're into the Twilight series. It's fine. They were also stories. Were you team Jacob or were you on Robert Pattinson's team?
I was going more for Terminator. I mean,
you were Team Terminator for the. Okay, I see what you're doing. This is like playing rocks, paper, scissors, where someone goes dynamite.
That would be me.
Yeah, you're like nuke. You're like it's rock, paper, scissors, George. No dynamite, no nuke. All right. So, all right, you went Team Terminator. All right, that's funny and awesome. All right, so werewolves, vampires could be fighting underground, could be. All right,
don't know.
If you were to find any, if you're like out of all the stories, the one that I could see and I met him, I saw the thing, I didn't get eaten by whatever it was, I got to really be there and like, I don't know, pet it, rub its belly, shake its hand, whatever. What would be the one that you're like, this is the one where like, I hope that's a real thing?
It's got to be Bigfoot. I've been crazy over Bigfoot since 1970s.
Okay. Listen, I'm gonna pray for you on that one. I hope you get Bigfoot. I hope that's the one. And I hope you know Bigfoot so well. You have like a secret, like Top Gun high five handshake with each other where you both like bump feet.
My son's part Bigfoot. He wears a size 16 foot, so.
You hang out with LeBron. You know what?
No.
Be funny. Here's what would happen. Listen, I don't think that Bigfoot would be so crazy. Here's why I say that. Remember back in the 80s, man, they had Teen Wolf. And like they let Michael J. Fox as a werewolf play on the basketball team and like dance on the van and stuff. Nobody was freaking out. And so I think if Bigfoot showed up and he was like starting center, Bigfoot, you'd be like, oh yeah, he's on our team. I like that. Like, I don't think people would be too crazy about that.
No, I don't know.
I just don't think
he would do well.
I don't think it would be that weird. I really don't. I feel like Bigfoot is like the easiest one to like, oh yeah, well, of course. I feel like that would be the easiest one. Also, like there's too many alien stuff right now where like you're kind of, based on how many interactions there have been, it seems more likely it would be more like a Mass Effect story or some sort of like first encounter is most likely, hopefully going to be like, we're hoping it's the Vulcans and not the Klingons because like the Vulcans came down, like your tech is really behind. You got to get rid of the nukes. Like you don't need those. Like you guys are bad tech, like not a good idea. And so they're like, we'll give you better technology and better stuff. And we'll teach you intergalactic travel. We'll make life easier for all of you. We'll integrate you into like the peace conglomerate of the galaxy with all the different, like races of alien out there. Right. We're hoping it's not Independence Day, which seems pretty likely because if you're going to be like, we can intercept all the signals, they're going to be looking at reality TV and going like, we can't work with these. We watched Jersey Shore the whole season. We're done. We have to, these creatures can't even merge in traffic. They can't even get in a straight line without fighting.
That's about right.
This
is like the ghetto.
Right.
They roll their windows by.
They're monkeys with nukes. Not a good equation here. We got to shut these guys down. Not good. I think, what's funny is out there, we're the Bigfoot.
Yeah.
They're like, no, I'm telling you, there's hairless monkeys with nuclear capability. And like, all it takes is one of them to push a button and the whole planet dies. They're like, shut up. Conspiracy. Nonsense. I'm not funding that research. That's crazy. No, it's true.
Oh, Lord.
It's true.
And they're really stupid.
Yeah, we've got evidence. We've gone to the planet. There's pictures. They've shut down the nukes. They've done things. They're like, no, they didn't. Let me guess. 10,000 light years away? That's 23,000. Mm-hmm. Sure it is.
We'll believe that.
Sure it is. Of course, whap, clink. That's where it's at. Sure. That's an alien name I made up. Whap, like I'm pretty sure that's the name.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure there's a click or a sound somewhere in there. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
It's not, unless wouldn't it be crazy if you met an alien that was from 23,000 light years away and he shows up and he's like, it's great to meet you. My name is George. Shut the fuck up. My name is George. And you're like, your name is George? My name's George. And you meet an alien who's also named George. You'd be like, shut.
I think we'd have to hang out.
Easy to remember.
Oh, yeah. That's true.
Just saying. Listen, I love these conversations. This is pretty fun, actually. All right. So,
oh, yeah.
All right. So Bigfoot's the dude. What's the one that you're hoping, like, I hope that story's never true? Which one was one that you read that and you're like, this sucks. I don't like that at all.
Well, the ones about the giant snakes.
There's giant snakes.
I don't do snakes.
Oh, okay. It's just because you don't like them. Because like I watched Conan the Barbarian and he handled that big snake no problemo. So we'll just throw a Conan at him. We'll be fine.
That works for me.
We'll get Arnold's still alive. He can just handle that.
Lord.
All right, giant snakes.
I found some good ones.
All right, what about giant spiders? Is that a thing? Like some Lord of the Rings spider that's like big enough that you have to like fight it with weapons?
I didn't read about any unusually big other than the normal ones down in Australia.
Yeah, actually, I have my
you got spiders there.
One of my head coaches, that was the huntsman spiders. He's like, those are just your friends. They don't attack people. You just wake up and there's just one this big in your bedroom, and you're like, good morning, buddy. And then you just go on with your day. And I was like, no, you don't. No, you do not. He's like, no, it's cool.
My wife would go nuts.
Mm-hmm. My little girls, I still have to get the spider. I just take them outside because spiders don't scare me because they're just little guys. But if I catch one in their room, I'll just grab it and I'll take it outside and we're good to go. But no, they panic. Like they're, I'm like, this one it's a daddy long legs. They can't do nothing to you. You're okay. Like, put a huntsman in their room. I'm going to have, nope, little heart attacks.
Yep.
They'll move out.
That's for sure.
Which actually, well. Gave me a plan there. I'm like, we're letting the huntsmen move in. Yes. Yeah, my dress said it's okay. And all right, so no giant snakes. I'm gonna veto giant spiders. Okay, let's talk about. There's some real life things that, like, here's where it's crazy to me. If you say there's just a taller dude who's like he looks part ape, part bear. I don't know what he's part to be what he is. Bigfoot. Like that's malarkey nonsense. But we got real animals that are like, there's a rock that's a fish that if you step on it, it's like neurotoxin will paralyze you and you may die. And you're like, no, that's nonsense. They're like, no, rockfish in Australia. You just watch out when you step on the reef. That's a real thing. You're like, nope. I believe the monkey guy before a fish is a rock that kills you. Nope, that's stupid. There's a little.
Well, you got that little snake in Vietnam. It's like inches long, and you get about 3 steps before you're dead.
That reminds me of a Kill Bill when like it's like the 5 punches, and then they're like, oh, and like after you take 5 steps, your heart explodes and you die. It sounds like that snake. Sounds like this snake needs a kung fu style. What is this 3-step snake? And where you're like, oh shit, I gotta take 3 steps and I'm gonna die. Damn it.
What if I don't take any?
Yeah, I'm just gonna stay here and I'll call for help, and hopefully they get here before I have to take any steps. Actually, it is a funny thing, man. Like, there's so much stuff on this planet that we A, don't understand and don't know, and B, that kills us. Like, we're not that tough. Like, I was even just talking with, it was Dr. Dana Saperstein. He's a clinical psychologist, and he gets into the fear aspect of how things work. And he was like, we're prey animals. You know that, right? And I was like, hold on a second. I have some pretty tough dudes. He's like, well, look at our hands, look at our teeth, look at our soft skin. We're prey animals. We're not predators. We've just have big brains to evolve ourselves to be literally bunnies with machine guns. Like, that's what we are. We're prey animals. We're not predator animals. We don't have the canines. We don't have the things for that. I'm like, okay, fair enough. Good argument. How much stuff on this planet just kills us?
A lot.
There's a lot of stuff here. Like our girls had to go out. Their grandpa has a farm, and he's like, watch out. Don't touch this plant because it'll eat your skin and it'll just start eating all your flesh. So don't touch that plant. I'm like, there's a plant that it eats your flesh. And you said there's a vampire tree. Don't fuck with that. Like, there's a lot of stuff here that just kills you. Not to mention, like, hey, don't eat one of those. That'll get you.
Yep.
How many animals or insects or bugs that thing bites you? You're either having the worst day of your life or you're probably not going to make it. There's a lot of stuff on this planet that just kills you.
It's made just to kill us. Yep, you're exactly right.
I'm like, listen, if aliens were like, we put you guys down here to see kind of what happens. I made a joke with my daughter. I think it was a Louis C.K. joke where he said, I don't think white people are from Earth because they had never seemed comfortable in any temperature except for this like 70 degrees only. And there's not a lot of places that stay there. They're always complaining it's too hot or too cold. I don't know if you guys are from Earth. And I was like, funny, because yesterday was a nice hot day. And I was like, what a beautiful day. And my stepdaughter was like, this is disgusting. This is anything over 70 is the grossest. I'm like, I don't know if you're from Earth. Just going to find out that we were planted here by alien. We're just planted here. We're not supposed to be here. We're the petri dish. Listen, I'm just open.
I can believe that.
I'm just open to say none of this would surprise me. If I found out we were placed here by advanced technology or advanced species, I'd be like, well, that explains some of it, sure. If we found out we're really in the Matrix, I'm like, well, that's why so many people don't seem like I know where they're going.
Yep, I can agree with that.
I'm like, okay, you guys aren't player characters. I got you. Okay, fair enough. I wouldn't be surprised. I'd be like, all right, well, give me the red pill. Let's see what Zion's like.
Oh, Lord.
I love it. I love it, man. All right. What is one that if you could share, like, all right, people don't know this one, but it's pretty damn cool. And if you were going to make your own, like, we need to make a movie off of this story, would it be the white dog or would it be something else?
And probably that organism in
all right,
in Antarctica.
Creature 49.
Yeah.
All right. It's funny that we have all these unique names, but we don't want to, like, that one's Creature 49. It feels like they got really lazy on this one.
Well, the scientists, you know.
what are the first 48? Where's Creature 12 and Creature 22? Like, what are those ones? It's like, well, we changed Creature 16. We just called polar bear, so we started naming some of them.
I like it. Oh, Lord.
Where's the other 50 creatures that we didn't name? We just gave a number.
Oh, Lord.
All right, Creature 49.
That's some good.
We're gonna get you. We need to get George funding, so you can be making these movies, or at least like George's shorts. Not your actual shorts you're wearing, but the shorts for, like, which movies they are.
I would love to. I used to act, so.
Okay. Well, we don't have to act.
For 15 years.
Now you'll direct. And well, you can act too, because you got to get killed by Creature 49, so that's fun. You could film your own destruction. I've
been killed a lot on film.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what your best I just got acid poison shot in your face acting would look like. I'm like, can you jump into character that quickly to show us what would it look like if Creature 49 got you? And is this like listen, we all just made up our own creature in our head. If you said there's a venom spitting under the water in Antarctica in the ice creature, I got tentacles that are already shooting stuff. You got tentacles on yours?
Yes.
Nice. Now, does it still do the Dilophosaurus, like, and then shoot? Because
no, I don't think it does.
See, I did Jurassic Park on mine. What does yours do?
It just stands out and spews.
All right. So is it like The Thing, and does it change shape?
No, it looks like a half human, half octopus kind of creature in my head.
Yeah, I saw that I thought is it Davy Jones or Davy? It was one of the Pirates of the Caribbeans. Saw that guy.
Oh, Davy Jones. Yeah.
Yeah, so I know that one. So you think Pirate of Davy Jones is Creature 49, except he shoots like venom.
Sounds close up to me.
I love it, dude, because it just added so much more depth to the character right now. Because it just went from like just trying to eat and survive into like runs his own crew, and I like it better already. Even more complicated though is you already know that if this Davy Jones that shoots Venom is like that's your crew leader, everybody in that crew is in a toxic relationship. Oh no, I lost him. Randy. Lost him. There we go. Thought that joke was too much for you, George.
Yeah, I sat there, all of a sudden everything went gone. I was like, oh no.
I was like, oh man. Killed him with that joke.
Oh yeah. Oh Lordy.
This is awesome. George.
Well,
go ahead.
Go ahead.
I have enjoyed this.
No, you go ahead.
I've enjoyed this very much. You said you put the podcast Odd and Unusual Tales on the back burner. You're gonna find Bigfoot. So I'm already manifesting it for you. George Lunsford is finding Bigfoot. I'm manifesting. I'm putting it out there. Like we're gonna change facts into new facts. So you're gonna be the new one who's like, fact check it. You can meet him. Here's the real Harry from Harry and the Hendersons. He's like, hey, you know, like everyone will know now. Like, hey, you just met Bigfoot. You can't argue with him. Put some pants on him, and everybody's like, okay, I get it. Fair enough. And then like now everyone knows George is on the map, and they're gonna have to like get your book first. You got Monsters of the World reference guide. Like, should we just go to Amazon and get this book? Like, what should everybody be doing?
Both my books are on Amazon, so go check them out. I hope you enjoy the stories.
What if somebody's like, this is a damn shame that George doesn't have funding for finding Bigfoot, and you get some philanthropist who's like, you know what? If anyone's going to do it, it's George. What are they supposed to do? How do they support you? You got a Venmo that we're going to put up here?
Well, they can always go.
All right, go to.
I got a website. They can go to the website. They can email me at my website.
Okay.
It's author George at yahoo.com is my website, as my email. And then my website is authorgeorgelunsford.x10host.com.
Yeah, I found it too. It's right there on the website. It's one button click to send you an email. Do you check your emails when you're out on the hunt?
That's right. No, but I check them when I get home. Because usually there's no signal.
Yeah, I imagine that there's not going to be a lot of signal where there's a lot of Bigfoots.
No.
All right, help me out. Because
just trees.
My plurals are sometimes a little rough. I love the English language because we can just be so wrong and still understand each other, at least almost. So is it Bigfoot, big feet, or is it Bigfoot plural?
Well, if there's multiple, I would assume it's big feet.
Right. No,
I don't know.
It sounds like
never really corrected me.
It sounds like a Hobbit clan. Which family are you from? Is like these are the Baggins and these are the Big Feet. maybe I'm just nerding out a little bit right now.
I like it. It's cool.
Well, I like it, George. If you want, let me know if you got more that you'd like to do with this. I love this already. I think this was really fun. And I think I'm okay with just this being out there so people can listen to this conversation and check out your stuff. Are you cool with that, or do you want to record some more later?
This is awesome. I've enjoyed it.
Me too. If I didn't have another call in like 20 minutes here and I had to prep for, I'd be hanging out with you a little more and get some more scary stories.
Well, we can always do that again sometime too.
Let's do that. All right. If you were going to say, I have somebody else who I work with who you gotta hear the stories of where like this person is the most fascinating person that you've ever met that needs to be on with you to be like, you want some stories? You got to know so-and-so. Who would that be?
I tell you what, talk to Robert Effler.
No.
He has some Bigfoot stories and some ghost hunt stories you'd really enjoy.
Let's get Robert together. So you know Robert, right?
Yeah, he's my partner.
That's your partner.
When it comes to hunting,
George?
he's my hunting partner.
George, make it happen. Randy will book the time with you, and then get Robert in, and let's all three of us record together, and I want to hear your guys' stories.
All right.
Sound cool?
I'll see if I can get a hold of him and make sure he's good with it.
Yeah, it'd just be for fun. If anything, it just promotes you guys, and if somebody loves it and gives you funding, who's going to be mad?
He's a cool guy. You'll like him. He's hilarious.
Sounds good to me. Awesome. Well then, George Lunsford, check out George's books on Amazon or give him some money if you email him. Monsters of the World Reference Guide, which is awesome. And then it's just the stories on there that like, hey, it's mostly entertainment, but comes from people's real life adventures. And watch out for vampiric trees. Just facts. I feel like we could just make any of these facts. Don't get sucked up by a vampire tree. Fact, bro. Agreed.
I agree with that.
If you see Creature 49, you either join his crew or get out of there. Fact. I know what to do. You see a UFO, let's hope that they want to exchange tech. And don't shoot. Can we just say, all right, let's just put it out there. Can we just put it out there? How many movies is there always that jabroni who pulls the trigger when the animal or the creature or the alien or whatever is like, I come in peace. And there's always some guys like, bam, like some trigger happy dude or some general who's like, we shoot first and ask no questions ever. Like, can we just say, hey, maybe let's give a little discord before we fire first?
Definitely. I agree with that.
Now, if they show up, no discord, and just start firing, fair enough. But it seems like every single show, every movie, every story, people are always shooting first. How uncivilized are we?
We're pretty much monkeys with guns.
We're monkeys with mooks. If I was aliens, I would be scared of this too. I'd be like, these ones are madness. They can't, they got nukes and they can't even merge in traffic without getting shitty at each other. It's just getting a straight line. It's just a straight line. You guys can't get into a straight line.
But I hate to do it, but I got to roll.
Me too. Super important, George. I have to let you go. So I'm going to let you go. Okay.
Yeah, I'm at work. So.
It's been a pleasure. It's been an honor. We'll be in touch. Thanks for hanging out today.
That's good. Thank you very much. I enjoyed it.
Later, George.
Later.
Click on the button and you can become the hero in your own story. It's time to start making the choices to change. And the evolution that you're going to do begins with choosing the next step. This is the way. And together, we're always stronger.